Some local legends, they're more than just spooky stories you tell around a campfire. They feel like warnings, rooted in some kind of real tragedy. So today, we're going to dive into a really terrifying tale from the Kamgao region of India. It's a story about friendship, a haunted bridge, and a curse that's been brewing for centuries.
And that right there, that's the chilling opening line from the story's only survivor. It just immediately sets the stage for everything that's about to unfold, a first-hand account of unbelievable loss and supernatural horror.
Two friends, one journey. It's funny how these stories almost always start on a totally normal day, with normal people making a choice that seems completely innocent. And this one is no different. It all begins with two friends who are basically inseparable. So you have the narrator and his best friend, Suraj Patil. And they weren't just friends. He said they were more like brothers. You can kind of see the classic dynamic here, right? The narrator was the cautious one, the guy who believed in bad omens and signs. Suraj, though, he was the brave one, the skeptic, always up for an adventure. It's a pairing that, tragically, would seal their fate.
So one night, they're just bored, you know how it is, tired of the same old thing. They decide to go for a long drive. They picked the Kamgang jungle, a place they'd heard was totally safe. Apparently, all the wild animals had left years ago. It was a full moon, the weather was amazing. What could possibly go wrong? A shadow on the bridge. Okay, so their drive takes them deep into this deserted jungle, and this smooth road leads them to an old, really isolated bridge. And this is the exact spot where their peaceful night out turns into an absolute nightmare.
And that's when they get to this place, the St. George Bridge. We're talking about a structure that's almost 200 years old. At first, it's actually beautiful. The moonlight is reflecting off the river, there's a nice breeze, it's just serene. But that perfect moment, it's about to get completely shattered. And then, just like that, everything changes. The wind just stops. The river goes completely still. And then a Titahari bird lets out this piercing shriek right over their heads. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because of the local folklore. In that part of the world, the cry of a Titahari is a serious, serious warning. It's a sign that something terrible is about to happen. The narrator, being the cautious one, he knows this. Suraj, he just laughs it off. And that's when they spot her, a beautiful woman standing on the outside of the bridge's railing, just staring down into the water like she's about to jump. Suraj, being the brave, good-hearted guy he is, doesn't even think twice. He leaps out of the car and starts running towards her, yelling for her to stop, desperate to save her. But here's the thing. It wasn't a real suicide attempt at all. It was a trap. The narrator just watches in total horror as the woman lets go and falls into the river. This here breaks down the whole hunting strategy of this entity. It's this really calculated predatory lure that totally plays on people's basic human empathy. Suraj, just trying to be a hero, jumps right in after her, falling straight into her trap. So while Suraj is down in the dark water, searching for the woman, the narrator looks over, and he sees something impossible. That same woman is now sitting back up on the bridge's railing, but she's changed. This is no human. The story describes a monstrous creature known as a chudal, with a face that was completely black, glowing yellow eyes, huge fangs, and long, sharp nails like an animal. And down in that river, Suraj finally gets it. He's not alone. Something is in the water with him. He screams out for help, his voice just filled with pure terror. And it's the very last thing the narrator ever hears from his best friend before he's yanked violently under the surface and disappears forever. The Chudal's secret. Okay, so the attack itself is over, but the story, not by a long shot, because the most haunting part of any legend is always the why. Why does this thing haunt this one specific bridge? So let's get into the backstory of how this whole curse even started. So, the next morning, the narrator wakes up and he's surrounded by locals. Suraj's body has been pulled from the river, but the cause of death is just horrifyingly specific. His heart has been literally torn from his chest. And it's this gruesome detail that finally makes the local villagers spill the beans on the full legend of St. George Bridge.
And this is where we get the tragic origin story. The spirit is believed to be a woman named Sundara. Back in the British era, she was assaulted by an officer, and afterwards, instead of anyone helping her, she was called impure and was completely ostracized by her husband, her village, and get this, even her own family. She had nowhere to go. So in total despair, she took her own life, jumping from that very same bridge on a full moon night, only to rise again as a Chudal, a spirit just filled with rage and a thirst for revenge.
The 100th victim. But this wasn't just random, mindless vengeance. No. According to the legend, there was a very specific, chilling purpose to her attacks. And it all came down to one single number.
100. This number, 100, according to the villagers, it wasn't just a number, it was a goal. A terrifying goal.
So here's what the legend says. To break her curse and become a living, breathing woman again, Sundara's spirit had to consume the hearts of 100 men or boys. It's a horrifying thought, but it explains why she only ever targeted male victims, and it explains why Suraj's heart was missing. And this is the final, deeply unsettling twist to the whole story. After that night, after Suraj was killed, the sightings of the Chudel on St. George Bridge just stopped. Completely. The locals are convinced that Suraj Patil wasn't just another victim. They believe he was her 100th and her last.
So that leaves us with this one truly haunting question, right? If the legend is true, if the curse was actually fulfilled, does that mean Sundara's spirit was reborn? Is it possible that somewhere out there right now, a woman is living a normal life, a life that was bought with the hearts of 100 victims? It's a seriously creepy thought to end on.